Now, as it is Halloween coming up, we've been talking about it to ourselves about, scary stories and scary movies, but we really need to talk to the experts at this time of year. And we have a medium on the line. Do you know how we knew that, Tom?
No.
No, because it's written in front of me. Yeah. It's Tom Colton on the line. Good morning, Tom.
Hi guys, how are we doing?
Not so bad, thank you. Tom, you're a medium. That's what we've been told. What exactly? What's that?
Basically, what I do is I connect with loved ones who's crossed over to spirit world and bring messages and information back from them to pass on to people who are still here.
Okay.
When you found that you could do this, were you young? Were your parents going, "Don't be stupid, Tom, this is ridiculous, you're living in dreamland," or did you even have difficulty believing that you were able to do this?
Well, as a child, I used to name streets that was never on. I used to say things that would really freak my parents out, and they kind of just brushed it aside, I suppose. And it was more when an uncle of mine died back in 2001 that I went to find out where he was, what he was doing, was he okay, and all of the things you do and think about when someone passes. And it was through that I reconnected with spirit again, because my belief is everybody has the ability to connect and communicate with spirit. Everybody has the ability to do it. There's no special gift, there's nothing like that you hear being said. Everyone can actually do it.
Okay, so you're just more in tune maybe with the whole process?
It's just I've developed the ability to communicate with spirit more than other people have. It's a bit like painting a picture. Some people can pick up a paintbrush and paint a masterpiece, others can pick up a paintbrush and paint, but we cannot pick up a paintbrush and paint, do you understand?
Yeah,
so
okay.
People develop their own abilities in different ways.
Did it freak you out, ever?
No, it hasn't actually. It's something that has kind of always been there, so I really know no different about it. I don't physically see spirit, which most people would understand clairvoyance.
Ah, you don't see them?
Spirit. No, I don't physically see them. I get my communications through clairaudience, which is hearing or thought, and clairsentient, which is feeling, which means if someone passes with a heart condition or chest condition, they will give me that sensation in my own body to pass the information on.
That must be weird.
It can be, especially when if you don't acknowledge them, they keep giving you that feeling until you acknowledge it, and then it just lifts from your own body. It is a bit of a weird feeling like that, always.
When you're doing your thing as a medium, and maybe somebody asked you to contact somebody, can you contact anybody at all, or is it mostly troubled people that that are kind of on the front line, if you like?
No. When I do readings, I work in two ways. One is a general reading, which is where whichever spirit comes through, I will communicate with, or you can do a specific reading connected with a particular individual, and you can do that by using an article of clothing. You can use that by using a photograph. I use most of the time because people may not have items belonging to them that their energy would be in. But when you use a photograph, the energy of that person is in that photograph, and you can specifically connect with that individual. Can
you always find them?
95% of the time I do get communication. There are 5% that you don't get the communication from them, and that's not necessarily that they're not there to communicate, and that's not necessarily anything to do with the person looking for the message. It's me as the medium not making that connection.
But these are people that have passed over, but are they are at peace, or there is this whole belief that spirits that are still talking to people like yourselves are troubled spirits. They haven't passed over in a peaceful way.
No, that wouldn't necessarily ring true for me. Most people probably would be familiar with the TV program Ghost Whisperers.
Yeah.
It deals with the whole area of earthbound spirits. An earthbound spirit is where someone feels that they may have crossed quickly, not realise they passed, or they may feel that if they pass over to the spirit world, or to the light as we call it, that they can't come back and be around loved ones, which is not the case. So sometimes they stay here and eventually do realise that they can actually cross over and can continually come back to us.
So you think your belief is, as portrayed in Ghost Whisperer, one of Marty's favourite programmes, that there is actually a light that you're supposed to go through?
There is, yeah. There's like a vortex or porthole that people will cross over, and most of the time, or lots of the time, nearly all the time, when someone passes, a loved one or someone they would recognise will come to bring them across. But sometimes they can't see that because they're caught up in their own passing. And as I said, some of them don't realise they've actually passed. And sometimes you hear the whole haunted house experience, or knocking and banging and things like that. Well, that would be where a spirit, and I would call it a troubled spirit, where they get frustrated because people aren't talking to them anymore. People aren't communicating with them anymore. they still feel that they may be here. And the film The Others is another very good.
Oh my God, that's one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen in my life. I completely forgot about The Others until Tom had just mentioned it there.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, I'm not going to tell you. But yeah, I suggest it's one to watch for Halloween.
But again, it's one of those that could be included in that whole thriller suspense thing, because it's not blood and guts and gore like the Halloweens or any of that.
No.
This is unbelievable.
So she's kind of hearing voices? Is that how it works?
We're not going to tell you.
No.
Okay, don't ruin it.
Rent it out. But it is a very, very good watch, with the twist at the very, very, very end, which is great.
Okay, so Tom, as a medium, and this is a question I often wonder about people with, if you wanted to call it a gift or something you fine-tuned.
Ability, I prefer.
Ability, okay.
Right.
Can you switch it on and off? I mean, do you go home at night, have a cup of tea, and you might hear something or feel something? Are you able to just do your own thing and then maybe just turn it on when you need to?
Yeah, the first thing when you say to someone, they say what you do, and you say you're a medium. Oh, is there anybody around me? That's the first question.
Yeah.
You're asked. It's a bit like, you wouldn't ask someone, well, I'm a carpenter, well, build me a house.
That's a very good point.
But yeah, you can't switch it on, switch it off, because if you're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're going to be absolutely drained.
Tormented.
So with Spirit, you set your boundaries. If they want to work with you, which they do, because they want to get messages across, when I'm in my zone or my work mode, we work together. But don't wake me up in the middle of the night to give me a message. Don't do anything like that, because I need my sleep in order to work with Spirit.
Yeah.
And that's the boundaries you set. And once you set that with them and be very firm with them, they actually do go ahead with the guidelines that you've actually set. And they do.
We're told Halloween is the time of the year when, if you like, it's the best sort of time to communicate with the spirit world or the other world.
I want to know why.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, old Celtic tradition and old Celtic mythology would say that it's the time of the year when the veil between the two worlds is at its thinnest.
Okay.
And this is the reason why the old mythology would say that Halloween is the Samhain festival. It's the time of making that connection with spirit world, because the veil is so thin.
Is Halloween an Irish thing?
Halloween goes back to pagan beliefs. It goes back many, many, many years to pagan beliefs, but there is an Irish connotation on it, which is the whole festival of Samhain and getting, the harvest time, and everything around that was built in around the Halloween season.
Tom, a lot of people, when they think of mediums, they think of an old woman in a gypsy caravan with a headscarf kind of thing. But you've actually studied these kind of skills in London, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. The people will put the whole fortune teller, psychic, medium, healer, shamanism, you name it, all in the one bag and think they're all the one thing, but they're not. Fortune teller or psychic would work on their own intuition, their own psyche, whereas the medium works with connecting directly with spirit and getting communication through spirit. So there is a complete difference. As a medium, you don't do fortune telling, you don't do any predictions, anything like that.
Yeah.
You use communication from spirit. In answer to your question in relation to studying, there wasn't that much here in Ireland where you could go to actually learn about this. Good old Catholic Ireland was very much, you don't dabble or you don't look at this type of thing. The UK are much more advanced than we are in the whole area of mediumship and the development of mediumship. There's 300 and odd spiritual churches around the UK, and the SNU would run that. And part of their thing is a place called Arthur Finlay College, which is a world-renowned. People come from all around the world to study at this college. Tutors like Tony Stockwell, which would be a very well-known medium, Mavis Patilla, Clean Edwards, who's in Dublin in Nace this weekend, running workshops. These are the tutors that are there helping people develop their abilities, not gifts, because I don't believe that, developing their abilities to commune and communicate with spirit.
Let's come back to you talking to somebody that's passed over, okay?
Yeah.
Can you do something on the phone now, or do you always need to have something belong to somebody, say that might have been close to me or close to Dee or something like that?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm real resident psychic now at the moment. I was on with Niall and Larry last night.
Yeah.
Did about 40 minutes on the air with messages coming through for people who are ringing in. But yeah, we could look and see if I can make a connection. The only thing I find about phone, I'm not a great lover of doing readings over phone. I prefer being one-to-one or being there with the person, because the energies can be a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But we can make a connection if you wish, and see how we go.
Okay, but do you need to know the name of somebody, or?
No, I'll just go with a connection what's coming through for me.
So you're connecting now?
I'm just connecting now, yeah.
I'm waiting to see what you feel.
I'm creeped out.
Well, yeah, if you ask, you have to take what's coming.
I know.
Okay. I get a feeling of an older lady here with me, and I will say lady because that's the feeling I'm getting. This lady is quite a small framed lady, thin lady, and a feeling of there's a heart chest condition connecting with this lady, and also there's something around the lungs connecting with her too. I feel there's fluid on the lungs, I feel, when she's passing. I do feel this is connected to Mam's side of the family, and I am with Marty on this one. I do feel a connection to Mam's side of the family with this lady. Would you understand that information so far?
Yeah.
I do feel with this lady too that I'm very much, as I said, a lady. I'm very much into how things are done. Things must be done properly, must be done correctly.
Oh my God.
I'm very, very organised with her. I feel with her that I want to, very much into what's the word I'm looking for? I'll explain it. When you get a cup of tea, you have to get a sauce, you have to get a cup, and you have to get a
Oh dear God.
It has to be done completely correctly with her. What's etiquette? That's the word I'm looking for. Etiquette, very much into etiquette here. I will say a very, very soft, gentle natured lady, the type of lady that would really, really love the company of family, people around, and I get a feeling of this Mrs. Doyle here, because the kettle is always on with this lady. I feel the feed, very much into home cooking with this lady. I want to go with, there's a rhubarb crumble taste I'm getting through here. I want to make reference to.
Okay.
I do get a feeling of a Mary Ann connecting around her. And I also want to go to the month of September connecting with this lady as a birthday or passing within the family, and I want to go to the 15th of September as a significant date.
Tom, I'm looking at Marty, listening to you, and there's no way. That's absolutely bang on the money. You just take a second there, Marty. You've hit the nail on the head there. What's that you're giving me? Okay, we'll leave it there. Tom, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, if I had any scepticism whatsoever before now, I don't have it after watching Marty's face while you told all the detail you just had there. You just literally opened yourself up to it.
That was my grandmother.
It was your grandmother?
Yeah. It was
your mum's mother?
No, it's actually, it was my father's mother, but
okay.
To the T of everything.
I really felt a strong connection to your mum.
Really? Well, it's funny because I've just handed Dee my phone because my mother has texted and she's just said 2 words that said, "Stop him."
Yeah. It's Tom, do you find that it's really powerful stuff, and people may come to you with wanting to know people that may have passed, and then maybe they hear you start to talk and then they get freaked out. Is that a case a lot of the time?
Yeah, you can get that, but one thing I do say, people anytime feeling comfortable, like Marty, stop, I stop. It takes a lot for energies to come through. It takes a lot for people to come through, but I do feel also that I do respect the wishes of those who I'm reading for. It's like when you're doing a show, like I'm doing tonight. I'm in the Axis in Ballymun this evening.
Yeah.
When I'm doing a show, I don't specifically go to an area and say I'm with you or I'm with you. I give the information out because people may come and want to hear a message from a loved one or connect with a loved one, but they may not want to take it because they may feel that information may come out there that they don't feel wants to be brought out to the public environment. And you have to respect that. And you have to be very careful with the words you use and the way you portray things across, because you're dealing with emotions, you're dealing with very much people's grief and people's emotions here. So you have to
You've knocked me for 6, Tom. Yeah. Absolutely knocked me for 6.
He's speechless over here. We're talking to Tom Colton, who's a medium. Tom, you're in the Axis in Ballymun tonight, did you say?
In the Axis in Ballymun tonight at 8 o'clock, doors open 7:30 on the Field of Spirit tour. And as part of the tour, and the reason for really doing the tour is because what we do is we allow, I allow people I read for to feel the energy of the loved one the same way as I do as a medium. And in doing that, I would bring someone up on stage or in a one-on-one session. I would pass the energy feeling that I have here. I would pass that on to, the loved one. They would sit in the chair, and we actually get physical movement in the hands and fingers from their loved ones. The loved one would actually move their fingers and hands. So we can actually get physical movement from a loved one who's passed over. About 85% of the time we get that physical movement. And it's